Audio test. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the '08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7CYM. Western Washington Amateur Television Society is a group of amateur radio enthusiasts that take to the airways with fast scan television. We have a repeater located up on Cougar Mountain. We transmit on 70 centimeters. It's a crossband repeater. It spits out images at 1.2 gigahertz. To find out more about the Western Washington Amateur Television Society, Google WW7ATS. That's Google WW7ATS. That'll take you to our homepage. There you'll find the frequencies that we transmit on, a little bit of the history of our club, and also a link on our homepage that takes you to YouTube, where we stream our nets that are held on Wednesdays and Saturdays between 8 and 9 o'clock. Also, we'd like to thank the SeaTac Repeater Association for letting us use WW7STR's repeater 147.08 with a specific tone of 103.5 for our nets. So with that, I'll pause in case anybody has emergency traffic or needs to make a contact before our net gets fully underway. Again, this is Dave, KD7CYM. Hearing none, again, this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net. I'm Dave, KD7CYM. Checked him via video link already is Ron, KD7QKU. Richard, K7ITX. Wade, W7ITL. Jim, N7QO. James, WU7N. And myself, Dave, KD7ZYM. Is there anybody else that would like to check into the net this evening? Hearing none, let's start the net off with Ron, KD7QKU in Tacoma.
Okay, thank you very much, Dave. Good evening to everyone. KD7QKU here. Well, we were talking about air conditioning before the net, and I'm sure that Richard is enjoying his air conditioning. I have it on low, Richard, in the living room, and Joanne's complaining that it's too cold. So anyway, well, let's see, I missed the net Saturday. It was my brother-in-law's birthday. He's 83. And so they had a party over there, a small party just for some friends. We were invited, and that was nice. And the next night, Sunday afternoon, they had a party. They asked everybody to come at 5:30. That was family. They got 3 daughters and a bunch of grandkids and everything. It was family, so family all came. And they had salmon, and that was really, really good. And then lo and behold, on Monday night, they all wanted to go down to, there's a little park, I don't know, Richard probably knows about it. It's on the west side of the Narrows Bridge. So it's on the south side of the bridge. And so the roads wind around over there and you come down, and the tide was in, so there wasn't much of a beach. But anyway, we went down there, and then they were going to have pie and ice cream after that. And so Joanne suggested that they have the pie and ice cream at our house. Everyone thought that was a great deal, so a good idea. So Phyllis and Doug dropped off the pie and ice cream at our house before we went down to the park. And so when we came back, I think there was 12 of us that were here for ice cream and pie. Everybody wanted to sit out on the patio. I had the air conditioner in the house, was cold. I had to turn the air conditioner off because the air vents out on the little deck, and it really is hot air, so I turned it off. Everyone was happy. It really was pretty nice Monday night. There was a little breeze out of the north. So I don't know how late they stayed. 9:30, 10 o'clock, I guess. So when we were down there by the water, there was one guy fishing. He was using a buzz bomb, and he was fishing for humpies, but he didn't do any good. There were 2 or 3 other people down there with dogs. So all in all, I don't know, our group, and then there's like picnic tables down there and one bench to sit on. But when you sit on the bench, the trees have grown up the bushes so much you can't see out there. So anyway, and of course while we were there, Richard, a train went by on the Tacoma side, you know, that's a mile long. I don't know, had 5 or 6 engines. Man, they have big trains. So anyway, that's what I've been doing. So I guess back to that KD7QKU.
QKU. Say the Net announces Bob and Lee will not be attending the Nets today. Bob overdid it in the heat getting ready for his trip, and Lee's doing a concert down on the waterfront in Port Angeles. So up next is Richard, K7ITX from Kent.
All right, well, Ron, gosh, 3 parties in a row. You're just a busy guy. But I was busy on Sunday in the Diamond Club at the Mariner Stadium. So, you know, that's the place right behind home plate where it's, you know, pretty much first-class dining and all that kind of stuff. So I had 3 trips to the food bar for prime rib, of course. I mean, you know, you can order stuff at your seat, but by the time I got to my seat, I just was ordering ice at that point. It was that kind of day. Well, you know, it's such a, you know, you're right on top of home plate. So at that point, it doesn't really matter who wins the game. You just want excitement. And boy, did I get it. And the nice thing about having a fantasy baseball team, especially when you've got, well, see, the Mariners are playing the Baltimore Orioles, and I've got Cedric Mullins. He's a Baltimore Oriole, and he'd been hurt for a long time, but what do you know, they bring him out in about the 7th or 8th inning, and he proceeded to win the game for them. If it wasn't for him, Baltimore would have lost. So how did he do it? Well, first thing he did was he snagged a home run from Ty France that was over the fence. It was a home run, but somehow these guys can bend their wrist and extend their glove, and he pulled it out. It looked like it was maybe fell 2 feet behind the fence. He brings it up. So that's a run right there. And I think it was probably the 8th inning. Cedric Mullins stole home plate. There's another run right there. So I mean, it was close, but he got there, and he got it. He made it under the tag, and I don't know if he stole it. It might have been. I can't remember. Maybe it was a sacrifice or some kind of. But whatever he did, he should have been out, but he wasn't because he knew how to play baseball, and he just slid right under the guy with the ball in his hand. But at that point now, it's a tie ball game. It's 10th inning, and I don't know. I can't remember if the bases. Oh no, there's Baltimore had someone on third base and someone on second. Cedric Mullins, and he hit the longest foul ball right next to the foul pole I ever saw. And I told my son, we're stupid if we don't just walk him and put him on first base. It's right. It's open. Of course, we were stupid, and we threw it to him, and he hit a home run. So there you go. He scored 3 runs in that game. If it wasn't for that, Mariners would have won. So, but Mullins is on my fantasy team, and that was worth about 30 points. So I came sound like a bandit. so I'm pretty happy now with Cedric Mullins, and I'll keep him on my roster for the foreseeable future. So anyway, a lot of fun. Thanks for listening to me out. K7ITX.
K7ITX. And this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. This is Dave, KD7CYM. Let's go to Wade in Tacoma, W7ITL.
Well, I'm going to make this short. Let's see if anybody can be on RF. I just turned my transmitter on. I don't know if James could try to switch me in. But let's see, Ron, sounds like you went out and had some fun. Sounded like maybe a boat dock. I didn't catch that. I'm pretty tired tonight. I've been doing basically like call center activity for like the last 4 days, where I'm just handling one issue after another. Man, my audio, my video is really bad tonight. I think the transmit or the receiver at the site might be either blowing, or maybe my transmitter is not pointed correctly, but it's feeding in and out. My video is just kind of going rolling. Let's see. All right. Sounds like everybody's talking about heat outside and wishing had air conditioning, or just riding it out. Hopefully that it won't be multiple days of heat. I definitely enjoy my air-conditioned home. I definitely feel like it's a good investment. You know, it is what it is. It did cost a little money to get installed, but it definitely helps out when these days get pretty hot. It also is good for the heating too. I have a heat pump. Let's see. Richard, sounds like fantasy baseball. I didn't catch if you were betting on that, or if you were just playing and you were happy by the results that you had. And it didn't sound. I didn't know if you were playing at home or if you were playing at maybe somebody's home, or maybe out and about. I didn't catch that part. Let's see. That's Oh, yeah. I did want to say, today I had a good time. I got to take my daughter out for lunch. We had pho, Vietnamese pho, and let's see. I am excited about the weekend coming. I'm going to have the rest of my railing installed and then cap metal installed next week, so I'm excited about that getting done, so I can close my project finally. And then I ordered another fridge today. Our fridge has been acting up. It's my wife had a big piece of plastic fall in her ice when she was just trying to get ice out of the ice maker, so we decided that it's about time to get a new fridge, so we ordered that today, and that'll be coming early September. We decided that this one will have the ice maker in the freezer and not in the fridge. That's a bad design engineering to have your ice maker in the door and in the fridge. It just doesn't work out. Doesn't matter how much insulation you put around that ice maker, it just doesn't work. It just always has problems, so we decided to go with the freezer option this time. So excited about that coming next month. And then we have a bunch of concerts lined up. I'm going to break for a second. I've probably been talking for more than a minute and a half. Well, I think that's all I got. It's going to be a short night for me. My wife's got to get to bed early tonight, so I'm going to cut out so I can let her not have to hear me talking while she's trying to sleep. I'm in the bedroom here, so I'll let you guys go. I might just listen until the end of the net. But yeah, 73 is for me.
ITL, we got your 7-3. Let's go to Covington to Jim in 7QO.
N7QO. Thank you, Dave. Good evening, everyone. Well, Wade, yeah, I see you on the 1.2 gigahertz. Picture's in and out a little bit, but not too bad. Signal's a little bit weaker than usual where I am, but I've got you in color. Wow. work around the house. New refrigerator. Sorry about that. Big bucks. Oh well. Hopefully the new one will last you for a few years. Ron, yeah, Party Central. Brother-in-law, happy birthday. Air conditioning. Yeah, I think many of us have that same problem where our spouses don't like it the same temperature as us. Dick, Sunday Diamond Club. Yeah, I was thinking about you, and what I was thinking specifically is at least you got to be there for 10 innings, and that's 3 trips back for prime rib. Dude, I'm proud of you. That's great. I wish I were able to do something like that. Let's see. You're talking about the fantasy games. I forgot which city it was, but there was a sports announcer who lost his fantasy pool, and part of his price that he had to pay for losing is they made him serve as bat boy for one game. I forgot who that was, but that was kind of hilarious watching that. He was running around. He was pretty busy for that game. It's like, well, some people take the bat boys for take them for granted, but they're hustling. I thought that was kind of amusing. And let's see. On the camera, I'm seeing the repeater shack now. Looks like maybe there's a spider web over the camera lens, moving around a little bit in the repeater shack. Oh well, I guess no one's been there a while to rile up the spiders. Let's see. That's it for this go around. Back to you, Dave and 7QO.
QO, let's go to James, WU7N in Bellevue.
Yeah, Jim, that spider is a specially trained spider. I've worked really hard with that spider. We've really made a lot of progress, and it's trained to put this little web right there across the center of the camera. We've really come a long way there, and have an agreement. Yeah, it's a pretty good deal for a couple flies a week. Ron, yeah, too cold. There's only 2 temperatures in the entire world, I think, too hot and too cold. I recall traveling throughout the Middle East and the tropics, you always want to carry a coat. Why? It's 95 degrees outside. Well, because when you step in somewhere, now it suddenly turns into 69, and you want to put a coat on. And they're always very proud of their air conditioning, particularly in developing nations. On the ice maker, I really went simplistic. It's been 30 years. I bought this refrigerator freezer. I think it was like a mid-range or low-end one, and it's still working. And it doesn't have an ice maker. And I guess that worked out well for me because there's really not too much to break. The only thing I've had to do with it, at one point I thought I was going to have to replace it, but I ended up packing lots of freeze bags inside the freezer because I learned that it's so old that the temperature of the refrigerator is regulated by the temperature of the freezer. So if you pack a bunch of ice bag things, freeze bags, in the freezer or frozen food or something, it does a better job of maintaining the refrigerator right between 33 and 45 degrees. So I'm just amazed. I keep wondering how much longer it's going to last, and it just keeps going. Richard, I'm glad things went well at the Diamond Club. That sounds like that was an experience and an exciting game. What more could you ask for? And I'm glad that all went very well. It sounds like that one player certainly got his money, or they got their money's worth out of that one player for the 3 runs. That sounds pretty exciting. Wade, your signal actually was not nearly as good over here in Bellevue off the mountaintop as it normally is. You actually went negative a few times, like all the black became white, all the white became black. Had a color signal, but it was coming in and out and rolling, so I don't know if that's just the heat or if there's some wind blowing around up there or what's going on, but just thought that let you know what the video signal report was. See, the other thing, I was going to say congratulations, Wade. You sound like you're getting to an end point with your housework. That's amazing. You are actually quite the inspiration for me. I'm going to try and get something done as soon as it cools a little bit, at least see if I can get my garage to the point where I can get a car back in it. That would be nice. In this room, so I'll try and hang in here as long as I can, but I may not last the entire net. So let me turn it back to our net control, Dave. This is James, WW7N in Northeast Bellevue. Go ahead, Dave.
7N, and it's ID time again. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7CYM. Well, I got 84 degrees and clear outside here. Boy, it was a nice warm day. I sort of just sit back and relaxed and enjoyed the warmth, you might say. Just didn't do anything. I just kind of laid back, fixed some meals, watched some television shows. That was about it. So I just sort of copped out today to enjoy retirement. So with that, I'm going to send it back up to air-conditioned Ron, KD7QKU.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Dave. KD7QKU here. Well, Richard, that sounds like you had a good time at the baseball game on the Diamond Club. And all the good food, that sounded really good. Yeah, and Wade, finally kind of wrapping up his house. That's good, too. I'll have to come over and take a look again. I think last time he showed us pictures, he had the new roof, I guess, put on the deck. Not sure if he had him put anything on top of that to walk on, or if he just walks on that torch down. So let's see. Saturday, I forgot to tell you guys, I guess. So my son called me up on late Saturday afternoon, and said, "What are you doing on Sunday?" And I said, "Oh, I don't know, just probably going to sit out on the patio and watch a baseball game." He said, "Well, I'm going to come over and get you, and I'm going to take you fishing on the boat." So I haven't been out on his boat. There hasn't been any fish really to catch, so I haven't been too excited about it. So anyway, he showed up here about 9:30, and we were just eating breakfast, and then we got, I don't know when we got back. It's about 45 minutes from here back to his boat, and fired it up. The boat works great to fish from, but he's been complaining. He's got a little V6 in it, and it's only about a 170 horse. And he's been complaining it's not powerful enough to really get the boat up on plane. It's a 22-foot boat, and it's a heavy boat. And he was right. It doesn't get up on plane very well. I mean, it wallows around a lot, kind of gets up on plane, but I wouldn't say it's really on plane. So we went over and fished by the mouth of the Nisqually River. He wanted to start fishing sooner, really, than we should have, because we fished and we never really got down to the mouth of the Nisqually River. Didn't catch any fish. There was no one out fishing. There just aren't any fish in. And so we fooled around for quite a while, and then we went over to Lyle Point, which is the south end of Anderson Island, and fished around over there. So we probably fished, I don't know, 3 hours. And then finally I said, well, I think we ought to hang it up and head back. But like I say, his boat is real comfortable. He has electric downriggers on it, and he's rigged up really good to fish. And so it has, outboard motor control with everything. We were going to mooch, but we never really got down to any place I didn't think it would be worthwhile mooching, so we just trolled. So, let me let it drop. Home, and then, I guess it was Monday. He was bored in the afternoon. My goodness, he started texting I think, till 5 o'clock. And he was running all these ideas about how to fish. We should try this, or we should try that, or we should go here, we should go there. And he sees these blips, on his fish finder. And I guess he thinks they're salmon. But I don't think they're salmon. You can't tell what there's a lot of dogfish out there and everything else. And I told him, finally, I told him, man, you're probably just seeing dogfish, Who knows what you're seeing? They're not salmon. If there was 100 boats over at the mouth of the Nisqually, then I would be excited, about coming down and going fishing. I did leave my poles on his boat, my tackle bar. So then I thought about it, and I said, what we ought to be doing is we ought to be after oysters and clams, I said, they're just sitting on the beach waiting for us to come and get them. They're there. All we got to do is go shuck some oysters and dig some clams. And he said, well, how are we going to do this? And I said, well, I guess we're going to drop the anchor on your boat. And you have a ladder on the front, and if you can let it down, we'll climb down the ladder and wade ashore. No, he said, I'm not letting you climb down the ladder with your ankles and wade ashore. Anyway, so I said, okay, well then what you need is you need a little dinghy. We need to tow a dinghy. Actually, he has another guy's boat in his shop, and he's overhauling the carburetor. I said, we could take that other guy's boat. It's 18-foot glass fly, and I said we could just run over to someplace and run it up on the beach, and then get out and get our oysters and clams and everything. Can't get crab because crab's closed in area 13, and that's area 13. There are some shrimp, I think, still open. Not sure about that, but he has 2 shrimp pots. But I told him, you're going to have to start doing other things besides, depending on salmon. Salmon are so few and far between now. So anyway, I guess it was Tuesday, I looked on, OfferUp, and I found 4 little Livingstons for sale that are about 7.5 foot to 8 foot, and that would be perfect for him to tow behind his boat. And Livingstons are really stable. One of them had an electric motor, one of them had a little gasoline motor, 2-horse. One of them had nothing. The one that had nothing, they said it was brand new, and they wanted $180 for it. Hard to imagine that they'd sell it that cheap. But of course, there's no trailer with these boats. Just slide them in the back of a pickup. So I don't know. He didn't respond much about that, so I don't know. He didn't seem to be too I told him, we met this guy on the dock, and he'd had his boat there for 12 years, and he seemed to really know how to fish. I said, you need to call him up and ask him where the oysters and clams are, because some of these islands around there must be some places we can get up on the beach and get oysters and clams. So hopefully maybe he'll find. I told him, man, I'm ready to go tomorrow. You find a place where there's oysters. I love oysters. I'll be there tomorrow, and we can get our oysters. So anyway, back to net, KD7QKU.
7QKU. Let's move on down to Richard, K7ITX, the Diamond Club expert.
Yeah, boy, I did my fair share of fishing in the South Sound. Probably had my best luck two places, Point Defiance, and literally at the very tip of Point Defiance, and then what do they call it? Green Point, right directly across from Fox Island to Horsehead Bay, right there, and that, interesting enough, is where the all right. That, interesting enough, is I don't know if they still have the submarines creeping around there with the United States Navy, but I remember one time off the east side of Fox Island, real deep there, and there's warnings, if you see these sirens and lights go off, to stand back, 500, 1,000 yards or something, because that means maybe there's a submarine's gonna get in your way. We were in that area, and we had a fish finder, and we thought we could see him, down there, But then at one point, there's one, I mean, we think it was a submarine because it just filled up the entire screen of the fish finder for, oh my God, for a good 3 or 4 minutes, you know, and it was way down there, you know, it was 500 feet or so, you know, such, and I mean, we'll never know, but we have, submarines have been known to beach on Fox Island. I do know that. Boy, you gotta be careful about talking about spiders, you know. Just talking about them or even seeing them on TV, I know people that get scared out of their minds. It's really weird. I know 2 people, it's like a phobia. These little tiny things, and it's just, you know, it's just like, I don't get it. I mean, and I'm sorry if I'm making, I don't mean to make fun of anyone like that. And Wade in particular, if that spider on, or whoever saw the spider, oh no, that was Cummington Jim. My apologies if the little spider scared you, because I like them personally. In fact, I nurture them if I ever have a web around my property. I'll even, you know, find them food sometimes. No, I've had a couple adventures myself. I think I might have told you about going to the eye doctor, narrow angle eye, and all that junk. You know, and that was 2 months ago. I thought something was in my eye, and I'll have to get in there. So I go in for narrow angle procedure, but this time it was the senior eye doctor who actually does the laser business, and she, you know, wanted to, you know, ask me some very specific questions about pain. No, I didn't really have pain, but it just, you know, it just feels like something's in my eye. This is going on for a couple months, and so she takes a look. Oh, well, maybe this hair in your tear duct is the problem. And I go, and she took it out, and yep, that's the problem. So I wasn't too excited. So no, we're not going to have the laser job on my eyes at that point. And she was still thinking I need to have an appointment for it. So I made one for, you know, 2 or 3 weeks later. But then I called back the next day, or they called me, and I wanted to know how my eye was. I said, oh, that was definitely the problem. It's too bad I had to wait so long, but that was the problem. I didn't say that part, but... went ahead and put off the narrow angle procedure till Thanksgiving. I still wanted more time to think about that, since it's not a big rush. Now, I think it makes sense. It should be done, but I'm definitely not going to have that other eye doctor player look in my eyes anymore. She was just hell bent on anything but finding anything in my eye, and I don't like. You know, I've had enough misdiagnosis lately without having something go wrong with my eye. Some of your advice has paid off for me and Debbie. You know, you had all that, you know, your issues with the car battery, and, you know, and how AAA took care of you. Well, I am now a proud member of AAA. And I did what you did, had them come out, and instead of having to figure out how to get it down to the dealer and swap cars and do this and do that, they came to the house and put in the battery for the same price I would have had to pay the dealer, plus I got their membership, and Debbie's going to be driving to Hoods Canal in a month, and I won't have to think twice. If the car breaks down, she'll just call AAA and they'll fix her up, and it comes with 200 miles towing, so she's covered there. And so anyway, so if I made fun of you before, Ron, I'll have to eat crow and say thank you very much, because I fell for it. K7ITX, back to net control.
ITX, let's go to Jim, N7QO.
N7QO, thank you, Dave. Well, Dick, a hair in your tear duct, that is great. It's, I'm glad that it wasn't a serious problem, and that didn't need a major fix. Now we just gotta keep our fingers crossed on these other problems, but that's a piece of good news. And yeah, AAA, I've known it to help out a number of people. I've been a AAA member for a while, and there were like 2 times that I needed them over the last 50 years or so. Let's see, Jim, developing nations set their air conditioning on cold. Yeah, I've noticed that too. I'm kind of amused that here, okay, that might not be the right word to use, but here in a developed country, somehow someone, a company or whatever, they're always trying to tell us to set our air conditioning to a warmer temperature. I'm not sure, maybe that's not saying much about our electric grid or something, but wow. Anyway, but yeah, I've observed that as well. Important to take a sweater with you places. Dave, good for you for relaxing today. Yeah, my thermometer showed 99 degrees here at the house today. Yesterday I saw 98. A little bit warm. I was outside for a little while, mainly watering a whole bunch of bushes that we've got, and just standing out in the sun for a few minutes. It was pretty brutal, more so than I was expecting. But I'm not complaining about it, at least not yet. Ron, fishing, yeah. Man, I haven't been fishing, I don't know how long it's been. I still have my stuff. Just curious, do you know of any good place to go for gooey ducks? Just a thought while you were talking about wandering around on the beach there. Let's see, what else can I come up with? Has anyone gone out and seen the Perseid meteor showers? I guess technically it's not over. And another tidbit of information. I saw on television, Lamborghini is announcing an all-electric supercar. Supposed to announce it on August 18th, which I guess that's Friday, this coming Friday. Just curious if anyone knows anything about that, and something to watch for on the news. Wonder how sharp it's going to look. I've always been impressed with the curves of the Lambo. Back to you, Dave, N7QO.
QO, and get an ID. And again, this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net. On the 08 machine, I'm Dave, KD7CYM. Let's go to James in Bellevue, WU7N.
WW7N here in Northeast Bellevue. The Perseids, I did not get out. I think I may have glanced up there once, but to really enjoy a meteor shower, you got to get away from the lights, and you need a reclining chair, and then you can just sit there and stare up at the sky, and then you see one. It's fun to do with someone else. Oh, did you see that one? Yeah, that was a good one. But apparently it was a really good one this year. The internet's loaded with pictures from all over the world with it. I've been looking at those. Maybe that's a sad comment on life when we all look at the internet to see who else was out there 1 o'clock in the morning with a camera. Anyway, it is still warm out here, and that was actually one of the reasons I really wasn't much of a stargazer, because it's just so nice and cool at night. I was trying to get sleep, and I find the light wakes me up quite early anyway. This morning, oh my goodness, a friend of mine sent, I think it must have been a mistake, he sent me a text at something like 6 a.m. this morning. That was a little early for me, but that was the start of my day, and did get out and do a few errands, got a birthday card in the mail to a relative I love dearly, and did some other things, and I noticed that Trader Joe's was pushing the lemonade, and I thought, well, that's a good thing to push this time of the year. They must sell a lot of it. Kind of an orange juice and water 50-50 guy this time of the year, but with a little lemon juice, it's supposed to keep kidney stones from forming up. Well, I can see we got about 15 minutes left, so I'll turn back over to our net control, Dave, KD7ZYM. This is WAU7N in Northeast Bellevue. Go ahead, Dave.
7M, this is Dave, KD7CYM in Lake City. Well, I did get outside today for a little bit to water down my rhododendrons, and luckily they have shallow roots, so it didn't take a whole lot of water to make them go from limp to erect, you might say. So anyway, they were looking pretty good towards this evening. And boy, talk about that meteor shower. I was watching TV, they said Mount Rainier, they complained that the people came up to Mount Rainier and trashed the meadows trying to watch the meteor shower and trampled down the vegetation. They don't know if it's going to recover or not, so they were really worried about that. It's people just overzealous looking for a place to lay down on a blanket in a meadow. And so, unfortunately, it chopped down a lot of wildflowers. Sorry to hear that. And oh my, Ron with his fishing stories. I always think that's pretty good. For me with fishing, go to Costco and get a salmon. It's easy. You don't have to worry about having the right gear or not. You just pick up the salmon, take it home, pay a few dollars. You don't have to pay a lot for gas and the expense of running a boat, and get the salmon home and cook it up. So that's my fishing story. So with that, we'll go up to Ron, KD7QKU.
KD7QKU here again. Well, I think, most of the fun of fishing is the camaraderie and running around in the boat. That's, I had Atlantic salmon for dinner tonight, and we had Costco salmon for dinner on Sunday night. So let's see, Jim was talking about gooey ducks. I've only dug gooey ducks once. It was over on Hood Canal, and I think it was near Potlatch State Park. Gooey ducks don't move, and the people who are successful gooey duck diggers, they take like a old galvanized garbage can, and they take the bottom out of it, and they stick it in the sand as they dig down. And you have to go down 2 or 3 or 4 feet to get the gooey duck. He's got a long, long neck when he wants to stick it out. And we got quite a few gooey ducks, and then we cleaned them, and they're tough. So we just, they're old clams, really, I think. We just ground them up, and we made clam chowder. That was good. You were talking about the electric grid. They've been telling us over here that we need to cut back on power and run the washer and dryer at night and charge your cars at night. And it just makes me laugh. I mean, I think it's, here they're encouraging everybody to get electric cars and do all this, and in the little heat spell we're having, they're already saying we're like running out of electricity. I mean, that's ridiculous. But anyway, that's the world we live in. On Jay Leno the other day, he had a Tesla Roadster. I'd never seen one before. No, I don't know that he had. I don't think he owns one. I think another guy brought it over. Forget what year it was. It's a beautiful car. And he went out and drove it. Of course, he drives all the cars. And he was impressed with the acceleration. I mean, you know, it'll go from 0 to 60 in 2.6 seconds or something. There's no transmission in them. You know, you just push the gas. So anyway, it was a beautiful little car. I don't know if it's the one they sent out to inner space or what. And another thing that happened, I forgot, was that a guy named Matt came over from University Place on Monday afternoon and looked at my telescope. I have this little 4-inch Meade, and I thought it needed to be culminated. Real nice guy. He came over and we thought about doing it in the garage where it was dark, but it was so hot that we decided just to close the curtains in the living room. And he had a little bitty light, itty bitty little light, and he set it across the room, and then we looked at it through the telescope. And when you look in there, the way he had it set up, it's like looking at a bullseye. There's a circle with a dot in it, you know, a circle in the center. And that circle in the center has to have equal distance, you know, all the way around, you know, be centered. And it was centered. He said, I can't make your telescope any better. It's perfectly fine the way it is. So I guess my telescope is perfectly fine. And I asked him, is this telescope any good? He said, oh yeah, it's a great scope. He said, I'd be happy to recommend anybody, you know, buy this scope. You know, it's a starter scope, I guess, but I bought it used on the market, and I've had it for, I don't know, 10 years, I suppose. Yeah, probably about 10 years. The guy's father had passed away. So it came in an aluminum box, and it was all padded inside the telescope part. It's 4-inch, it's a Meade, and I have a nice tripod. A tripod, you can put a battery in it, and it'll track the planets. So it's set up really nice. So no, he said it was a great telescope. So didn't take him long to determine that, and then he went on his way. He said they have star parties someplace over there by Lakewood once or twice a week, and he'll text me the next time they're having one, and I can come over and get acquainted with everybody and look at the stars, look through their telescopes. So anyway, back to that KD7QKU.
QKU. Let's go to Kent to Richard, K7ITX.
All right, well, Covington Jim, you got my interest when you mentioned the Lamborghini supercar. Now, I don't know that Lamborghini was in the 24-hour Le Mans or not, but that's the first time I really latched on to the term supercar, you know, as opposed to just, you know, some nickname or anything like that, but it actually has a meaning to it, and that's the supercar, at least at 24 hours of Le Mans, got a lot of its power from multiple electric motors. A couple electric motors, one for each front wheel, and then of course probably fuel, whether it's alcohol or gas or whatever they use for combustion, that sort of engine as well, probably charged. Well, I don't know how they would charge the battery, whether it's just the residual force of slowing down and braking, or a couple of things. But anyway, that's what I'm guessing, is that now whether or not this Lamborghini supercar is for the motoring public, or they're rolling this out for next year's Le Mans. You got really interested to the point where I'm going to have to check into that. seen cars. I saw the owner today of our two cars, and no progress on the crashed. What was it? The Porsche, the crashed Porsche. No progress there. We're still looking for surgery with stents in our artery, so that has not occurred. That's supposed to happen next week. And for some reason, he thinks that's going to cure his. I don't want to call it paralyzed left hand, but his goofed up left hand, let me put it that way. And I personally think it's from maybe a minor stroke. But I don't know, he's heard a couple stories from people with diabetes that get these stents after some kind of a diabetic event. They get a stent and they get their hand back, or whatever was wrong comes back to life. So I hope that's true for him. We're gonna pray, that's for sure. But as far as the Datsun goes, we may or may not have a new engine. We've got a major project. A major project building a new shop out for our cars in Graham right now, and I guess everything's good to go. We just need power from the transformer, and we're waiting for a permit to do that. And then we get the electrician going, and then we'll finally get out of the woods on that. But that's kind of got our attention right now more than anything. So we probably won't see the Datsun out on the track until probably the Labor Day weekend in Portland, and then maybe 3 or 4 weeks after that down here in Kent again. So I only expect to see a car out a couple more times now before the end of the season around here. And you might remember, I think it had to be last Wednesday. Yeah, last Wednesday I couldn't really be on the net very long. I can't remember if you even saw it, but I had a tube up my nose and hooked to a monitor and down my throat and into my stomach. And that was called a pH test. And what they're trying to do is measure if I had any acid reflux at night when I'm asleep. Well, I don't. It's a heck of a way to find out. I'm telling you, though, it was pretty torturous. I never want to go through that again. But it's part of the whole process I've been going through. They checked my heart really good, and then, and the next thing you want to look at really closely is your throat. Well, I did the barium swallowing, and I passed that with flying colors, so but then a couple, it was a 6-minute walk. I walked for 6 minutes, and that turned out to be really good because I walked probably as farther than I ever have in 6 minutes without my blood going haywire. So that was really nice, or the oxygen in my blood being too low. So that was pretty cool. And then I did what they call a spirometry, where you blow and inhale and exhale, and there's some tube, and the machine measures everything. It's a pretty miserable test too, and that's, you're not going to get instant, any kind of instant results. Basically, they're looking for trends as they compare those results to tests that you've done like that a couple times before. Actually, I thought, to me, it was good news. Now, again, it's all has to do with trends, but my trend of my gas exchange in my lungs of going downhill actually got better. So I was really happy about the improvement in gas exchange, because to me, that's what counts. But one thing that didn't do as well is the actual full full volume had decreased in this particular test. But like we talked about before, and I'm mentioning now, it all has to do with trends. We're just looking for any kind of trend so we can respond appropriately if it's necessary. But right now, everything's perfect, and it's great to get out and about, like going to a Mariners game and things like that. So, all right, so, geez, I took up too much time, didn't I? K7ITX, back to net control.
7ITX, let's go to Jim, N7QO in Covington.
N7QO, thank you, Dave. Well, Dick, I am really glad to hear that things are looking better for you. I know you've been through a lot. Some of those tests can be rather unpleasant, and sometimes you wonder why they're even doing that to you. I've gone through a couple things like that myself. It's like, whoa, don't ever want to do that again. But that's good. Your friend there with the hand problem, I wonder if it may be like a nerve problem. I had maybe a similar problem a few years ago, and it caused me to miss 2 years worth of work, and they said it was a problem with a nerve, and they don't know what causes it. They don't know why it happens, but the solution for me anyway was time and physical therapy. And they said a nerve your body can grow a new nerve around a damaged nerve, and they told you approximately how fast it could grow. I don't remember what that rate was, but not fast enough as far as I'm concerned. But anyway, it took me on the order of 2 years, and I wonder if your friend there might have a similar problem. Well, thanks for the update on your racing team. And as for the Lamborghini, yeah, I don't know the meaning of the term supercar. Don't exactly know what that means. But as far as I'm concerned, anything that's attached to that name is a supercar. So that'll show you how much I know about cars. And let's see. Oh, Jim. Yeah, look on the internet to see who else was up during the night looking at the sky. Yeah, that's funny. That's life today. That's kind of a reflection of reality. Thanks for mentioning that. Back to you, Dave, N7QO.
N7QO, let's go to James, WW7N in Bellevue.
Oh, K7ZYM, this is WU7N. Thank you. Looks like I get the last word tonight. Well, I put in the comments, Jim, you know, I too complained about how slow things were to heal up back in 2019 when I had major overhaul done, and someone said to me, if it goes really fast, you should worry. And I go, why? Because when it goes fast enough, they call it cancer. So I went, okay, I guess we can do the slow project. That's fine. Anyway, Richard, I'm glad to hear that you're feeling so much better. Yes, that did sound fairly awful when you told us about that. I think I'll pass on that. I actually got a problem, and just with the kind of coverage I have, the next step is to get shot full of some kind of radioactive dye and then have a gamma camera take pictures of me. And I said, you know what, we're going to live with this as long as I possibly can, because I spent a large portion of my life trying to keep radioactive stuff out of me. Now they're going to shoot it into me intentionally. I don't like that idea at all. On that positive note, I'm going to say good night to all. Looks like it's 9:01. This is James, WW7N, in Northeast Bellevue with the Western Washington Amateur Television Society. Let's let Dave close it up.
7N, thanks for that. We'd like to thank the SeaTac Repeater Association for letting us use WW7STR's repeater 147.08 for our voice transmissions. So on behalf of the Western Washington Amateur Television Society, this is Dave, KD7CYM, signing off at 9 o'clock. Good evening all.